Hello there, welcome to Where's Wilmington. I'm Lisa Capalla. Today I have the pleasure of talking with the gentlemen who are partly responsible for bringing the Boston Metro Hirailers Model Railroad Club to us. So let me introduce you to these gentlemen. I feel like saying gentlemen start your engines. I've always wanted to say that, so there's my opportunity. We have with us Andy Zaleski, I'm teasing you, it's Zaleski, and he is the current president of the club. And next to him is Bob Freeman, he's the former president. So thank you for being with us, gentlemen.
You're very welcome.
Andy, I'd like to start a little bit with you and tell folks a little bit about how the club came to be in this area. I know you were in Melrose previously, but you've been in Wilmington for a very short time.
Yes, we were in Melrose for approximately 12 years, and then our building was sold, so we suddenly had to find a new place to be, and we needed a good space. We needed a place that was easy access, grade level, and I also really wanted something closer to the highway than our building in Melrose, so we could get a little wider audience. And this location, from that point of view, turned out very well, and the community has been exceptional. We've got new members from the community as well.
Great. Now, if you don't know where the club is, let's tell folks where you're located.
Our club is at 5 Waltham Street. It's really right on Route 62, near the previous Dinette World, but we're in the back in the building that's shared by Brooks Interiors.
Right, so you pass us here at WCTV, go right down to the end a little bit and you'll find it. It's back there. Kind of hidden a little bit, but that's kind of good in a way because, you know, hidden gems are good things.
Yes.
So Bob, what changes have taken place since Andy became president, you know, that wasn't going on when you were president, or are things pretty much still running the same over there?
Well, we're in a new building, and the layout is pretty much identical to what was before. When we moved, we had to take it apart. Basically, we cut it all up and made a big jigsaw puzzle.
Right.
And then we put it back together, and we used every stick of wood we had, except for one leg.
Wow. Isn't that always the way? There's always one piece left
There's always
over.
one piece.
You know, like bikes when you're building
That's
them
right.
for kids. So tell me about choosing a location for something like this. Tell me how big the trains are. You actually have 2 layouts there, correct?
We do. We have 2 layouts. We have our permanent layout, which is approximately 40 by 60 feet.
Wow.
And we have also a layout that's, that can be taken apart and set up in other locations. It's a movable layout that's approximately about 15 by 30 feet.
Wow.
So they pretty much fill our room. We have a little bit of space for gathering, but the layouts dominate the space. The portable layout has been set up at shopping malls and at the Greenberg train show that's held twice a year as well.
Right. Now, if folks want to come and see this firsthand, I know you have a big event coming up in September. Let's talk about that.
Yes, our open house is going to be on September 22nd. We're also going to have an open house on the 23rd on the day of the half marathon, primarily for the people who are participating in that. But our open house to the general public is on the 22nd.
Excellent. And Bob, what will they see there?
Oh, they'll see many trains running.
Right.
At one time, we probably can have 10 or 15 trains running at one time on one layout, and the other layout we can have 2 or 3 trains running.
That's neat.
And there'll be a bunch of members there which will be able to explain the layout, explain the operation, and explain the club.
And you know, lots of folks are trying to find family-friendly, affordable things to do that everybody in the family can do. I would say that this is something that's really good for the entire family to take a look at, wouldn't you?
I think so. The adults enjoy the trains that we enjoy. We also set up an exhibit for the kids where they can have some hands-on, they can push the buttons and make the cars load and unload and so forth, and we really try to encourage that so we don't have to keep saying hands off, hands off. Let them get involved.
Right. Do you feel that the art of creating these types of layouts, I don't know what it's called, train watching, I don't know. Do you think that's dying? Do you think less and less people are doing it, or do you think it's more underground?
I don't think it's dying at all. It's amazing how many people you run into that have had toy trains, that enjoy them. When you look at national magazines and things, this is a very widespread hobby, and many people that are interested in antiques come at it from that direction, and people like us that played with these toys when we were kids that just like to keep doing it and show new generations
and the
what it's all about.
nostalgia of it, and it's also very calming. We're going to take a look at some footage in a little bit that explains how the trains actually work, but I found it very peaceful. The sound of the engines, the way they were rolling on the tracks, I thought it was neat. What do you have to say about that question, Bob, about train watching? Is it becoming a really big thing? Has it
Well,
always
it's becoming
been
a very
thing?
big thing. In fact, it's getting a lot more sophisticated than it ever used to be.
Right.
And everything can be digitally controlled, and our layout can be digitally controlled by all the major control systems.
Excellent.
So people who like to watch them go around in circles, like I do, it's very calming. And then also people who like buttons and gadgets, and
Right.
the more the better, like myself. Enjoy that because you can do almost anything with the train.
Really? Do you ever crash them together on purpose? Just
On
for fun?
purpose, no. Does it happen? Yes.
Yes. Is the person who is operating the controls still called like an engineer? Do you call them that? Or do you just say the guy with the remote?
Yes.
It's usually the guy with
How
the
do you
remote.
get to decide who's going to run the train?
Well, we can have many people running all at once,
Excellent.
hopefully not colliding, as you
So
said.
it's a democracy over there.
Yeah.
It's not a
Yeah.
dictatorship.
It's
That's
not a
excellent.
dictatorship.
Excellent.
That's right.
So I had a question about the actual layouts themselves. I noticed that on some of the tags in the video that, again, we're going to watch some of, and you'll be able to see on WCTV for quite a while. It's 28 minutes of footage shot by Don and Ron, Don Leard and Ron Bucheri here at WCTV. In any event, it shows you all of the layouts and the little trees and all the little people. But what I noticed was you have cards hanging up that I would imagine denote cities or towns.
Right.
How accurate is your layout to scale of what these towns really are? Because I thought that was kind of a neat thing.
It represents the theme, and there's a theme behind the layout. We're not trying to create a scale model of an actual place, but on the other hand, we thought instead of just running trains, we wanted to have a theme, and we do pattern the different places after real places that the trains went, coming from Scranton, Pennsylvania, all the way up to Boston and up to Portland, Maine. And that was how the plan has been generated. But these are toy trains, so it's an interpretation.
Right.
It's more of an artistic
Right.
effect than a replication and a
Because
model.
I was thinking, does anybody ever come in and say, you know, that's not in the right place, or this should be like that, or this train wouldn't have run on that track at that time? I wonder if people are pretty particular, especially the antique
Well,
train folks.
some people are.
Yes.
There's no two ways
'Cause, I
about
mean, there's
it.
purists in every hobby.
There are purists, and we are trying to make the layout prototypical as far as what things to size would be like.
Right.
It's not gonna be a typical toy train layout like the smaller layout we have, which has all the moving accessories, and it looks like a toy train layout, like
Right.
everybody's used to seeing back in the 50s and the
Right.
60s.
Right.
This one is gonna have mountains that look like mountains, the trees that look like trees, the people to the right scale. So it's more prototypical and more detailed in that way versus a toy train layout.
Excellent. You know what, let's take a look at that footage now since we've been talking about it. Footage you're about to see is going to show you a little bit of how the mechanics of the system works so that you can get an idea of how the actual trains kind of go around the track. That will give you a little taste. And when we come back, we'll talk a little more with our friends Andy and Bob about what's going on at the Boston Metro Hirailers Club. So we'll be back in a minute. Take a look at this.
So this is an MTH controller, and I have two MTH trains that I'm running here on this Portland loop. And the way that it basically works is this controller sends out a radio frequency signal that talks to a control box underneath our layout. That control box then interprets the radio frequency and sends out a digital signal to the track that tells the engine how to behave. So if I want to blow the whistle or make it go faster or slower, turn on or off the smoke, play some of the various announcements that the train can make. All of that control is available here. And in this case, where I'm running two trains simultaneously on the same loop, I can have independent control over each engine, or I can control them simultaneously together so that I can have a fixed speed and they'll maintain a constant separation so I can go off and do something else while they're running. Or if I want to run them independently, I can do that as well. So it makes it a lot of fun. I can walk around anywhere on the layout while I'm controlling the trains, and gives us a lot of flexibility. The nature of the construction of our layout is such that we have a lot of individually insulated sections that are fed individually, and in that way we try to maintain a constant voltage over most of the independent sections, so that you don't have as much of that speeding up and slowing down. You have a consistent voltage on the track when we want to run in conventional mode. That's another nice thing, is that we can run conventional trains, command control trains, both the Lionel and the Mike's controllers. and we can run them all simultaneously, so it's great. Yep, basically the voltage on the track is goes from about 0 to 18 or 20 volts AC, and it's 60 hertz. But that's the power that actually runs the motors in the trains. And then, of course, on top of that, there's a high-frequency digital signal that provides the communication, so that, again, you know, we can do all the various operations that the engine is capable of, blowing the engine, controlling direction, speed, and so forth. We have these. Each loop is comprised of individually insulated sections of track, and they all are wired back to a common distribution point. So in that way, we can eventually set up stop blocks so we could control the independent sections of the track in such a way that we ensure that there's never a collision between two trains. So that if, you know, one train is on an adjacent block, we can detect that and then you know, restrict the motion of an oncoming train.
Well, you see some of these things are absolutely gorgeous, especially the scale ones. They're very nice. The scale stuff is gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. And especially now, since they now have communications, they talk.
Right.
So and everything's digitally controlled. I just enjoy watching trains run. My wife said, "How can you sit there and watch a train go around in circles?" I said, "Well, it's very calming. You know, it's very calming to sit and watch a train go around. It's good for your blood pressure. No one bothers you. It's great.
Yeah.
You come down here, you're with a bunch of people, you have a good time, and no one's bothering you. The world's out there. That's what it's all about."
Hello, welcome back to Where's Wilmington. If you just tuned in, you were watching some footage from the Boston Metro Hirailers Modeled Railroad Club. Wow, that is a mouthful. Next to me, I have Andy and Bob. They are both here talking to us about the club. So why don't we talk about the name, Andy, and tell folks a little bit about why it's called the Hirailers Club.
Yes, Boston Metro Hirailers. Hirailers is actually a term that's recognized in our hobby nationally. It means that we're using toy trains, but we're developing them in a more scale model type environment. It's a kind of middle ground. There's people that just run toy trains where everything is very out of scale, and there's some modelers that everything has to be 2 rails and perfectly scaled. The Hirailers is in between both of those, and I think it's a lot of fun.
So if I were in the game, I would know what that meant. I would say, oh, Hirailers, that tells me what genre or what style, I guess, what recipe you use, if you will. So tell me how you guys got involved with trains. I know, Bob, you have a good story about that.
Oh yeah, everybody in the club knows.
Okay, well now everybody in America is
Now
going to know
America
too.
will know. Probably about 12 years ago, my wife said to me, "Bob, go get a hobby."
Okay.
So one day I woke up and trains came to my mind.
Really?
Yeah. And since then, I've been totally in the hobby. We have the hobby has 2 shows in York, Pennsylvania, one in April and one in October, which is the largest train shows in the country. And I've been going ever since I decided it was trains.
Nice. How addictive does this get? I'll bet these pieces are kind of pricey, right? Some of them?
They can be very pricey, yes.
Right.
I mean, they can be upwards of $1,000 to $2,000 for the deluxe models. On the other hand, you can find trains in the O gauge size in the $100 to $200 range that are very fine, beautiful trains.
And we should point out O gauge. You told me earlier that there are different what types of trains. There's the 1, the 2, well, the 2, the 1, and the 0, right?
That's how it came to be. Back in the early 1900s, there was number 1 gauge, number 2 gauge, and then 0 gauge. And they thought because of the size of motors and things, that's the smallest trains would ever get. Now, of course, today they're highly miniaturized.
Right.
They started with HO, which was half O, and then went down to Z scale and beyond.
Kind of like picking out diamonds. You got to know
It's
your
kinda like
grade.
that.
I get it.
Just to give you an idea, a Z-scale engine is about that big.
Oh, really?
And an O-scale is anywhere from 12 to 30 inches long.
Wow. Now, how about you folks personally, you each individually? What's the oldest piece of equipment or little thing that miniaturized thing that you have in your collections?
Personally, I do like very old trains. I have a train from 1915 that I run. I have a lot of trains from the 1930s, and they still run on the layout. It's the same technology.
Wow.
Part of the fun of the Hirails is we can run the old toy trains on that, which you couldn't do on a scale railroad.
And do you both do all your own repairs to your own setups yourselves?
Some.
Some, yeah.
Yeah, I
would
enjoy
imagine-
repair very
I would
much.
imagine that's fun. What about painting the trees in the mountains, Bob, that you were talking about? Do you guys do all of that
We do
hands-on
all of
too?
that. In
How
fact-
long does something like that take?
Well, we are currently working on the scenery,
Right.
and it's a long, involved task, but it's fun.
Yes.
We make our own trees, we make our own mountains,
Neat.
and that's where we're at right now. And
So
when
it's very creative.
and when people come to the open house, they can see what is done and what's in progress.
Right, which is on the 22nd and 23rd. And what is the actual cost to attend the event, and what time is it running?
The cost, we ask for a $2 donation per person. If it's a family, it's a $5 maximum for a
Okay.
family.
And I believe children under a certain age are free, I think. Somewhere on here it says that. For
think
more
we do
information,
that,
how do
yeah.
we call you?
How do we call us?
How should we get in touch with you? Should we look at your website? We
The
could
best
do that.
way would be to go to the website, which is
Is it www.bostonmetrohirailers?
BMHRC.com.
BMHRC.com. Okay, I looked at the site and I thought it was very good. Everything you really ever wanted to know pretty much is there about the event and membership and all of that. Let's give people a taste.
And
Go ahead,
the open
Bob.
house is 10 in the morning till 4 in the afternoon.
Oh, that's a long day.
on Saturday. Yeah.
On
Wow.
Saturday.
Okay, and then Sunday when the race is going to be held, you'll be open as well.
Sunday will be open till 1, I believe.
Yeah.
Okay. How about membership? Let's give for folks a taste of how you become a member and what that entails.
Well, the members, prospective members would come to the club, and we would have to have a certain number of work days and meetings that they would attend. Not a lot, but enough to get to know the other members of the club. And then the club would take a vote on that prospective member. There is a $50 initiation fee, and then our basic dues are $30 a month.
Okay. And what is the age? You have to be 18,
You
correct?
must be at least 18 years
Okay.
of age. You certainly can bring children to the club, members bring grandkids and kids, but
Right.
to be a member, you need to be 18.
Well, that makes sense because you're doing some serious work. You know, as
Yes.
much as these things are fun, they're expensive and, you know, they need to be run properly, so I can see that. What's your favorite part, both of you, about the club itself?
My favorite part is just having the chance to take a toy train and just open it up on such a big, beautiful layout where you can watch it go around the curves and lean in and do the things that a real train can do. And it's very hard to do that on a small
Right.
setup at
I
home.
had an uncle who had a setup in his basement, and his hobby just grew too big for the room, and I think that's what made him probably give it up. What about you, Bob? Why do you like it, or what do
I
you like?
enjoy the electronics
Yeah.
and the scenery. That's my thing.
Right.
It's very nice to run the trains at full speed around because we've designed it such you can. and they won't fall off the tracks.
Excellent. And we talked a little bit about one of my favorite things, which was the smell of those Lionel trains smoke. I have a brother, and I can remember at Christmas when he would get a train. That smell is so unique.
Yes.
But you were saying that you can actually order different kinds of smells. Can you tell us a little about that? That's
Yeah.
kind of neat.
You can order all sorts of smells. Smells for Christmas, smells that smell like coal, Lionel smells. You can even, for accessories, order ones that smell like bacon and eggs for diners.
That's amazing.
And they really do.
Yeah, and I imagine that creates a certain different kind of atmosphere for the folks who are watching too, because they may not be aware, but that sensation kind of helps the whole process. How long does it take to run the train all the way around the whole track? Or is that dependent on how fast you're running it, I guess?
You can run it slowly, and it'll probably take 10 minutes or
10 or
more to go
15
all the
minutes,
way
right.
around if you
Really?
run at full speed, not so much. But it is fun to try to see how slow they can go, because these are such finely tuned motors and everything. It's amazing to watch.
Right. Now, if you had unlimited resources financially, what would be on your wish list for things that you would want to get for the trains?
Wow.
I
That's
know.
an interesting
Isn't
question.
that a
That's an
nice
interesting
question?
question,
Yeah,
yes.
there must be tons of things you would want to buy. Would you want more track or more specific trains themselves?
I think the scenery is what, we are building our scenery and everything, and if we really had unlimited funds, there are people that professionally make model buildings and
Really?
model scenery pieces. It can get quite pricey if you
Right.
start to buy it, but it just takes so much time. It would be wonderful if we could begin to do some of that
Well,
as
if
well.
we get you enough members, you might
Well,
be
that
able to
could
do
be
that.
great.
I think I've seen some trains on television, not in real life though, with waterfalls and
Yes.
people fishing where the little characters are actually animated on the sides.
We
and
will
stuff.
have some of that.
Really?
Yes, we will.
It's going to be neat to see.
It's going to be very interesting. I
Excellent.
guess on my wish list, I would like a very large turntable.
Oh,
They're
yeah. So that
very
would be how
expensive.
I've seen how they do that. So
You know,
that
the
would be just
turntable and a
how you-
roundhouse.
Yeah. Oh, that would be neat to have. That would be
We'll
really
get there
neat.
eventually.
Yeah. Well, you've got forever. You're not going.
It's a
anywhere,
hobby.
right? Yeah. It's not. It's not.
not a
Supposed to
job,
be
it's a
something
hobby.
that's completed. That's an excellent point. What would you tell someone who was thinking about joining about why it would be a fun thing for them to try out?
Well, there's really two things. If you enjoy trains, I mean, we have a lot of fun with our trains. There's a lot of expertise in the club. People can come in, they have questions. There's people that can really, really help out. And that really leads to the more social aspect. It's a wonderful group of people. We enjoy each other. We enjoy our trains. It really gives us a focal point to have a social
Okay.
experience.
Do you have any female members yet?
We do.
Really?
Yeah, our secretary is a female member.
Excellent.
I have talked to one other prospective member, not a lot, but
Right.
they
I was
they
just
do
curious
come.
if this was sort of a boys' club. I know you're open to, of course, having girls, but I just always think of trains as a male-dominated hobby. But if ladies want to join, I guess you'd be open to that as well, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
Lionel Trains in 1957 actually made a pink train to sell
Oh.
to girls. Today they're very valuable because they're so rare. They didn't
Yes.
sell very
Yeah,
well.
I've never seen the Barbie train
Yeah,
set, but
yeah.
who knows? They could make that next.
But they do have a girl set, and they've also re-released it currently. And all the cars, you have a pink locomotive, and the other cars are different colors.
That's neat.
And it does sell pretty well.
Well, who would have thought of that? Anything final you folks would like the viewers to know? I'll start with you, Andy. Anything final you'd like to say to the folks out there?
I think our open house is a great time to come and see what we're all about, talk to the members, watch the trains. If you have any interest at all, if you played with trains years ago, you got them stashed away in the attic. When you get them out and run them, there's just something special. There's something a train can do that no other toy that I've ever owned has done, and I think you can relive some of that enjoyment.
Excellent. And Bob?
Well, I think, in fact, if you want to get involved with a layout, if he's putting track down, doing scenery, doing electronics, doing software, because we're going to have it all software controlled in the future.
Right.
That's still in the thought process.
Right?
You should join, because you don't have to understand what you want to do, because everybody learns from everybody else.
Excellent.
That's the nice part.
That's really good. And I know you'll be doing some things for the holidays too.
Yes.
I know we'll be putting those things on the bulletin board here when you have different things that you're going to do at Christmas. But I know you want to do a nice big layout for the holidays. I know you had planned to do that last year, so that'll be coming up. Anything else that you have in the future? Are you going to ever do birthday parties there, or
We have-
functions and things?
Yeah, we have considered that. That is a pot. We haven't done it. We've got to work out the kinks to make sure that that we can do it safely and so forth. But I think it is a real potential in the future. Once our layout gets a little more scenic, I think it would be a lot of fun
Excellent.
for the kids.
Well, please do keep us informed. Come by and see me again. The next time things get bigger and better, I want to know all about it, all right?
Great.
And I'll come over and stop by and visit you on the 22nd and 23rd, right down the street here at 5 Waltham Street, right up the street from WCTV. So I just want to thank everybody for watching today and remind you that if someone asks you, where's Wilmington, you tell them right here and right here on WCTV. We will see you next time.